Now, for this round, we are playing against Blue-White Monument, and starts out with a pretty slow hand, but we don't know what we're playing against yet. Um, well, we do because it's a replay, but I kept not knowing what it was. So, given that their first play was Monument and we had the Abrade, that was pretty good. So now we cast Doomfall on an empty board, and we see this hand. We see Adanto, Glorybound Initiate, Dusk to Dawn, and Legion Conquistador. So I guess we don't need to see Dawn, Dusk, and Dusk Dawn. So now we know that we're up against a whole big pile of creatures now. So basically all this 1-for-1 removal, like Vraska's Contempt, what are we going to target? I mean, I guess we can target a Vanguard because it's indestructible, but he can exile it. Gonti is likely to do some work, despite his pacifist, non-violent position. We're about to see what happens here. They have a whole. They found all of their conquistadors, so there's a lot of stuff going on. And we actually find Cloudblazer here, which was pretty strong. It's a way to gain an advantage. Now here in this spot, basically, I just want to force the trade if they're willing, but really I just want to deal some damage and draw some cards. I don't block because they would just be paying 4 life or pumping, so didn't want to trade my creature that easily. But now I'm willing to stay back on defense. Now that they have their army online, block some of their stuff. So I'm willing to make this trade here. So I block there and I block there, knowing that the opponent is going to pump this vampire token to kill my Gonti, but Death Touch means they still trade. Here, though, I blocked not because I was willing to trade and not because I wanted to get the not because I wanted to trade it for 4 life, but because my plan was to Vraska's Contempt the Adanto Vanguard. So I want to block so that if they're like, all right, well, trade, then I'm like, okay, cool, trade. Or I probably still Vraska's Contempt, but really, given their life total and their board presence, there's almost no way that they don't pump there after this block. So I was just basically blocking in order to bait them to pay the 4 life, and that's exactly what happened. And now I proceed with my play of using one of my 2 Vraska's Contempts to kill the creature that is most problematic. Now we're in an interesting spot. So we have the Ifnir Deadlands, and we have 2 other deserts. So we can actually just start plinking off all their creatures. The problem with this plan is they have 3 more conquistadors in hand. So that's one reason that we're actually just trading our lands for conquistadors. But the other one is they have Dusk to Dawn. So Dawn would allow them to get all of their creatures back unless we do something about that. So we have 2 plans to be able to deal with it. We can Doomfall and just exile the Dusk to Dawn from their hand, or we can just exile it with Scavenger Grounds after they pay the front half. And given that we don't have any creatures that are going to die to the Dusk half, the Dawn half is the only part that matters. And having them take a turn off to pay 4 mana just to basically discard that card is good for us, and we'd rather them do that in order to use the Scavenger Grounds to get rid of all their stuff. So based on that being our plan, we could either play Vraska's Contempt or we can Liliana here. And if we Liliana and plus it to make a token, well, a single removal spell would basically put Liliana really low or dead. It would just be chump blocking the Glory Bond Initiate. So we don't really want to do that. We'd rather just play Gonti. Gonti trades very efficiently with Glory Bond Initiate. We get to basically 2-for-1 them, and then see what we find off of Gonti. So this is just the most value play here. We find an Okitra's Monument, which, oddly enough, it can do something, not a whole lot in this board though. And then what we do is we actually doomfall the opponent with having them sacrifice a creature. So their exiled cards now are Cloudblazer, Adonto Vanguard, and Conquistador. So they just exiled the Conquistador, which, given the two Duskborn Sky Marchers on the battlefield, it's attacking as a 4/4 creature. So the Cloudblazer is basically holding these off, or at least, it holds one off, and then the other one trades with it. The Conquistador is really the one that is the problem, because Gonti did end up trading for the Glory Bond Initiate. We're fine with that. We just basically wanted to whittle down their board a little bit, given that our plan is to not let them cast the Dawn half. Our plan is to Scavenging Ground. So basically, we are just whittling down their creatures with the Doomfall. Not great value, but given the board we're in, that's the best we can do. And now we're just going to make it, now that the board is basically cleared up, we just play the Liliana, make a token, but they did draw Cast Out, which we didn't know about. It's a pretty good draw for them. We do trade that off. And now we're going to get some value out of this monument. Going to... So the thing we did here, we sacrificed a land to the Ifnir Deadlands, and we had it be Ramanap Ruins because that's much less valuable than Ifnir Deadlands in this matchup, given what's going on. So that was their least valuable desert. So we pitched that one. And then we used our Field of Ruin to kill off their Adonto the First Fort, because that was beginning to be problematic. If they just started making tokens and just casting their cards in hand, then that could begin to be an issue. So we just went ahead and took care of that. Now the boards are pretty even. We should make this trade. And they start casting their Conquistadors. And then, oh, look what we found. Glorybringer. Make a token off of your own monument. Smash, kill your creature. What up now? Now we know that they're going to Dawn to kill the Glorybringer. But basically, we were able to cast Glorybringer and Pianalar, which gave us 2 tokens off the monument and 1 off of the Pia. And then we're basically forcing their hand to dusk either this turn or next turn to deal with this Glorybringer to set up the Dawn as well. But then the Dawn is going to get thwarted by the Scavenger Grounds. Instead, they play Cloudblazer. Draw some cards, play that Adonto Vanguard. So now we just know they have Dusk Dawn and Legion Conquistador. We kill off their 2/2 flyer, smash in. And again, in this spot, it's more valuable to keep the Scavenger Grounds than the Ifnir Deadlands because of the Dawn. So we sacked the Deadlands to kill their 2/2 flyer. And now the opponent doesn't have anything. And so on their end step, we want to kill off their creature. And now we smash. And now our plan is to do the grounds because they can bring this back. And we don't want to just do it on our turn because, well, there's no reason to do it yet. But if they try to pay the 5 mana, we can do it in response. Because even though the Aftermath is on the stack, all the creatures get exiled anyway. So with some of the Aftermath cards, you want to sack your grounds on your own turn or the turn before they can then cast the spell, because once it's on the stack, you can't then exile it from the graveyard to prevent it from resolving. But in this case, the resolution of this spell is to return all creatures from your graveyard to your hand. So this one, it does kind of work out because the effect has to do with the graveyard. So they actually forced our hand by trying to kill our Scavenger Grounds, and we just acted in response. And now all they have left is Conquistadors. Now it's just a good old-fashioned race. Pay some life, play a land, Ballista for the full amount, get a 4/4 and a 1/1, plink off your team, and I do exactly that. Last of the Conquistadors, running on empty, and I plink on their end step so that they can't give it indestructible on our turn and survive. And now it's just about pumping the Ballista, shooting their team, and just killing them, basically. Reasonable draw, but now they cycle their land that they picked up, and now they finally get their monument. We braided their monument, we stole their monument, now they have a monument. It's a little late for that. Exile a creature, attack you, nothing doing, just kill you. I actually activated the Pia so that their creature couldn't block, so then I could just lethal them this turn. So that was quite the grind fest, where we ground through all of this action, and we just had all of this stuff to deal with it. So that's part of what this deck is able to do. Let's go with game 2. So we mulligan a hand that had no black mana. Let's go ahead and kill that. Yada yada, play token, establish our board. They start establishing their board. They get all their conquistadors again, full grip. We attack, offer this trade because we have another Pia in hand. They decline to make the trade. We look at their hand with the Doomfall. Interestingly enough, Magic Online shows that there are 6 conquistadors, but we know that there's only 3. So we can X out some of those. And let's see, they played that one and that one. So we don't draw a land for a dragon, but we do draw a Gonti, find another Cloud Blazer. So we're just trying to outvalue them with their own cards at this point. Make the same trade we made before, Gonti for Glory Bond Initiate. Actually, we don't need to do that yet. They gave us a better trade, just eating their 2/2 instead, which is what we'd rather do. We draw a tap land, we play it because of the Glorybringer and because of the Cloud Blazer. Go ahead and kill that since they don't have a monument. Might as well. Now we're going to play Cloud Blazer instead of Glorybringer. There's just no reason to try to get the Glorybringer in harm's way yet. We don't want them dusking for good value. We'd rather them dusk for nothing just to get it in the graveyard. Now it's time. Since we basically know their hand, we don't need to Doomfall any of those cards away. They think they're racing, but not really. So that was an interesting play that they just made. They played Cast Out, and they didn't target our Glorybringer. Instead, they targeted the Cloud Blazer, so that then they can even mechanic the Cast Out back to their hand, and the Cloud Blazer comes into play under their control. Because remember, we took it from Gonti. They own it, so when it is exiled and it comes back, it's under their control. So they gain 2, they draw 2 cards. So that was a really strong play on their part. And now they still have the Cast Out in hand to deal with the Glorybringer on their following turn. So that was a pretty big advantage to them. That was kind of the point in the game that swung things back to their favor. Old tricks I used to do with, of course, Skyfisher and Oblivion Ring. So now we got to take the Mavrin. It's getting too much out of hand. Just got to start killing stuff. We got the Monument, Conquistador, Conquistador. Now we're basically just dead at this point. So we could, I guess, prolong the game by playing out some of these cards. But yeah, we're basically dead. We could play Gifted Aetherborn and Pia and try to stall the game out a little bit. I mean, we're certainly not dead, but the reason that we conceded was because we have 4 minutes and 45 seconds on our clock, and I think it's pretty unlikely that we win this game, given that they're about to like chef it Dune, pump all their team. If they don't do it next turn, they're gonna make a bunch of guys, make a bunch of creatures, then chef it Dune the following turn. And so instead of wasting another minute off our clock, let's just save 5 minutes for game 3. That's basically what that was about. So we were like 90+% to die there, probably 95%. So this hand's pretty reasonable. It deals with all their early stuff, but it doesn't have any real card advantage yet. So we're just going to jam Doomfall to take their monument. Unfortunately, they had 2 monuments. Let's stop and talk about this for a second. So in the hand that we saw, they had multiple monuments and Cloud Blazer and lands. So if we take one monument, they're legendary, so they're just going to play the other one, and it's like the Doomfall did nothing. So like if we had an Abrade in hand or some other way to deal with the monument, then I would consider taking that. But instead, since they're going to now have an active monument, taking the redundant copy doesn't accomplish much. So it's between Conquistador and Cloudblazer, which are actually very similar cards in that, you know, Cloudblazer basically is a 3-for-1, and a Conquistador is a 4-for-1. And I just went with dealing with the 4-for-1 instead of the 3-for-1. That's basically my reasoning there. So they play the Cloudblazer. Draw some cards. So now we did hit our land, which means we Glorybringer, kill their creature, smash them, they're at 10. It's looking like it's going to be one of these games where they're on the back foot unless they can find an answer to this Glorybringer. They drew another Legion Loyal Conquistador, so they're able to only find the other 2, and they're playing Aviary Mechanic, getting a bunch of 1/1s. We offer what looks like trades, but actually we are just killing both their creatures. So we end up killing 4 creatures with 2 removal spells. So we're kind of trying to catch back up. And now there's the cast out to deal with our Glorybringer. Things are looking bad. What's going to happen? How are we going to come back from this game? We're plinking off their creatures, but they're able to, like, things are not looking great. Our creatures are dwindled, and they're making more, and they have active monument. What are we going to do to come back from this board state? What cards are there? Abrade, alright, I can deal with their monument, or I can deal with their creature. I deal with their creature instead. Canyon Slough, cool, cycle it. Boom! What is this? Pirates die! Attack! Now they're rebuilding. Down to 6. Exile a creature. We're still not out of the woods, but the fiery cannonade got us back in. Now we have the braid. Do we kill a creature or do we hit that monument now? The triple block. We kill a creature. All their creatures die. They don't have 4 life to pay. Attack. Put you to 4. Boom! Glorybringer! Just in time to bring the glory. GG. So that was a pretty good game the way that unfolded. The it was looking pretty grim, and we drew the fiery cannonade. So we have 1 main and 1 in our sideboard. So we drew one of our 2 copies to wipe their board, get in with the Aetherborn. They started to rebuild. We had a couple of removal spells to keep them from being able to trade and kill our Aetherborn. And then we hit the Glorybringer before they could mount an offense again. So we weren't in danger of dying to our life total. We were at 41 from all the life we gained from the Aetherborns and the Vraska's Contempt, but we were at 1 minute on our clock. So I believe in this match we were having some internet connection issues. I believe that's why our clock was so low. But anyway, that was a good game. Let's go to the next round.